If you go to the second problem or the following problem 3-6, this is a water tank supported by 2 channels, as you can see, and the 2 channels, the C channels, they are anchored into the concrete bed. There's a concrete bed. Do you remember there were 4 groups this morning? 4 groups. Do you remember the 4 groups? Building structures. Group number 1. Group number 2, non-structural component. Non-structural components. Group number 2. Group number 3, non-building structures. And the group number 4, as you remember, diaphragms and shear walls. You remember these 4 groups. And I told you the code is handling each group separately. In order, I wrote this before, so you don't have to repeat it again. You remember, if you go to your notes, the 4 groups: the building structures, non-structural components, non-building structures, diaphragms, and shear walls. Okay, and each group, they have their own equations. If you look to this tank here, this tank, it has dimensions and supported, and he found that the seismic force here, F, is 19.22 kips. He gave you the seismic force, F. But before I proceed, how do you classify this water tank? Supported by these 2 C channels, self-supporting, and on the concrete, and the concrete supported by the ground. Do you consider this as a building structure? No. Do you consider it as a non-structural component? No. Do you consider this as a non-building structure? The answer is yes. So what is a non-building structure? If you look to the comment here before I go to the solution, is very easy. Moment is equal force times distance. Note, this tank is a good example of a non-building structure, where the tank is self-supporting. If the seismic lateral force is not given, if this 1922 is not given, how can we determine that? They give us equation, and we'll cover this in chapter 8 of my book. This chapter 15. Okay, it is under rigid non-building structures. And this is the equation, by the way. V is equal 0.3 SDS times W times IE. And we'll know what are these parameters. But just to prepare you what is a non-building structure, this is a good example for non-building structure. So, but the problem ended here. Is asking what is the moment. Moment is equal force times distance. If this is 5 feet and this 19, here it is. Piece of cake. He's asking what is the service shear force per bolt. I know there is what bolt here, anchor bolt 7/8, and here, and he said that total 4. Total 4 here it is in the problem statement. So I divide by 4. 4 bolts because this is given. This is given. The 4 bolts are given, probably in the problem statement. Maybe did I mention that the channel connected by 7/8 anchor 2 channels. Probably he didn't mention, but it's mentioned here. Total 4. Total 4. Here it is. Total 4. And we need to know how to read the plans and pay attention to all the information given. So if you look to this, he's asking what is the word service is service means that ASD. And since the seismic force is the strength design, I divided by 1.4. Do you remember the conversion? ASD is equal to strength design divided by 1.4 or strength design times 0.7. So I need you to remember this conversion. We convert it from the ASD, which is a service condition, by multiplying by 0.7 or divide by 1.4, and here it is. Okay, so I need to be aware of that. additional problems here. What is the resisting moment? The resisting moment. The resisting moment. This tank has a weight W, and did he give us the weight? Okay, 62.4 kips. So dead load here is equal 62.4 kips. Okay, when it's completely full. And this dimension here is 4 feet, because from center to center. So this is the channel, here it is. And this is the channel, here it is. And this is a concrete slab. And we anchor the C channel. If you look at the diagram closely, you'll find there is a bolt here, and there is a bolt here, and one on each side. So the distance from here to here is 4 feet. So the resisting moment, the lateral force, this is a disturbing force, F. This is the OTM. The OTM is in this direction, which is the disturbing moment, OTM. But the resisting moment is from the dead load, which is this one here. Dead load. So this is RM. So I took what? I took the weight of the structure, which is the weight of the tank with its content. I multiplied by 4, which is the moment R, and multiplied by 0.6. We take 60% of the dead load as the resistance. Do you remember the load combinations? We use 60% and 90%. It depends on the method of the analysis. Okay. This 62.4, is this a dead load or a live load? Dead load. Okay. So right now, the resisting moment, okay, the resisting moment resulting from the gravity, taking the moment, either right or left, will give us the answer. If you use 0.9, so 62.4 times 4 times 0.9, what is the answer, by the way? Just for the sake of discussion. 200 and what? 224.6 kips. Do we have an answer to match that? That's it. Sometimes they are so tricky. They leave you alone. But your question is a valid question. And we are going to see something like that. Okay? If he included both answers, and some they do that. If I included 224.6 and I include the 149.7, both of them in the problem statement, he has to tell you which one, the ASD or the strength design, the 0.9 or 0.6. If he includes both answers, because this will not be a fair question. Are you following me? If he included this answer, which is already here, and if he included this answer also, he has to specify the method, strength design or ASD. Like this question here. Let me, since you asked this question, which is a good question, let us go to question number 317 on page 132. Can you go to page 132, please? Question 317. When designing for overturning, which factor must be applied to the dead load? And you have these. He didn't tell you which method, but we have only one answer, which is 0.6. That's it. Sometimes they do that. They leave the question vague to see if you understand or not. And you start to say, oh my God, they didn't mention it is ASD or strength. But if there is only one answer, they don't have to tell you. Okay. And the same story, similar question, by the way, question number 315. I included these two questions purposely for that, to address your question. Can you go to question number 315, please? When designed for overturning, what applied? It is only 0.9. which is answer C. I provided answers, by the way, at the end of each chapter. Please, if you feel there is any mistake or typo or anything like that, please let me know, and I will be glad to correct it if there is any correction